It's mid-morning at St Vincent's Hospital's coronavirus testing clinic.
Have a seat, my dear. Have you had a nasal swab before?
I have.
Monique Isaacs is feeling healthy but is getting tested for COVID-19.
It makes your eyes water, doesn't it?
Take a moment.
Yep. I suffer from asthma. It's been getting worse over the last few weeks. So I had quite a bad attack last Sunday. So yeah, it's just peace of mind.
This swab test will identify if the virus is present, whether or not the patient is showing symptoms. With the government securing a further 10 million swab kits, this test is what most Australians will experience.
It's very quick. There's a momentary feeling of discomfort. Somebody said to me they didn't realise their nose went back that far.
Once the swab has been collected, it's taken to be examined at a lab.
14.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
The standard test takes somewhere between 6 to 12 hours to process, with patients usually notified of their result within 72 hours.
This is a classic positive COVID-19 curve.
There's also a more rapid version of the swab test that can turn around results in about an hour.
We have a very selective criteria for using the rapid test. It's used predominantly in cases where we need fast triaging of patients from certain settings, including from emergency to intensive care, and we've also been using them for transplant patients as well.
The concern with the rapid tests is that you may get more false negatives. So if you're trying to make a diagnosis of COVID and it's in a patient with symptoms who's unwell, and you really do not want to miss a diagnosis.
It's this balance between speed and accuracy that medical experts and governments around the world are trying to get right with coronavirus testing. In late March, the regulator, the Therapeutic Goods Administration, sped up the approval of a number of rapid blood test kits for use in Australia. These tests screen a tiny amount of blood or plasma for COVID-19 antibodies in as little as 15 minutes.
What these tests do is to detect antibodies in a patient's blood.
The Doherty Institute in Melbourne has spent the last few weeks assessing the performance of these rapid blood test kits.
We were asked to perform what's called a post-market validation study. One thing that is extremely clear at the moment is that these tests have limited, if any, role in the acute diagnosis of COVID-19.
The Institute's findings are yet to be finalised, but it's clear that some claims made by companies now selling these tests in Australia aren't accurate. 730 has found tests being advertised online as ideal diagnostic tests that allow you to gain a diagnosis quickly.
There's a lot of these kits flooding the market, and I'm sure there's very big variations in quality across those kits. Probably getting half a dozen a day from companies with no track record of making diagnostics, selling rapid test kits for COVID-19, and they have no certifications, no validation studies to back up the use of their kits.
Trent Warburton's company, Trend Bio, is one of the TGA-approved suppliers of these tests.
I think at the moment, we should be cautious, and I think suppliers should be conservative rather than gung-ho about the way that they promote the use of these kits.
A different type of blood testing is underway at this lab at Westmead Hospital in Western Sydney. Here, scientists are also looking for COVID-19 antibodies, but the testing takes longer and is considered far more accurate.
Antibodies, if they're present in the patient's blood, will bind to the virus that we put on the slide. We then look down the microscope and we add a reagent that actually highlights the binding of antibodies to the virus, and we can see that under the microscope.
Pathologists here are tracing virus transmission, as the test can identify people who may have had COVID-19 but shown no symptoms. It can also give pathologists an idea of roughly when someone was infected.
We're actually able to time when that person might have had their infection, whether it was a week, 2 weeks, or a few months ago.
Matthew O'Sullivan says the next project for the lab is something called serosurvey testing, where they examine random blood samples to see how widespread COVID-19 actually is. It'll give authorities a clearer picture of whether cases are going undiagnosed.
It gives us a very good idea of the actual overall incidence of this disease in the community, and tells us whether or not the numbers of cases that we're seeing based on the swab tests is a good reflection of how many cases are actually occurring.
For now, the government's advice is that swab testing is the best diagnosis method available.
Do want people who have even the mildest symptoms to come and be tested. It's really important that if these testing strategies are to work, that we keep testing, and we keep testing those patients with symptoms so that we keep seeing a large number of people come through to inform us about exactly what is going on within the population so that we don't miss cases.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.